I almost dropped my phone trying to set this up. Hi, hello. I don't really need a formal introduction because you all should know who I am. And if you don't, well, sucks for you. So, for my religion project, I decided to do it on the LGBTQ plus community in Canada. Not like today, but like 25 plus years ago. And because, wait, this is religion, I'm gonna put a Bible counter. So every time I make references to the Bible, the number will go up right there. I'm not sure if it's going to be in this corner, it could be in the other corner. So sit back, relax, this is gonna be a while. The 1900s. It was a much simpler time back then, where fashion was wild and babies didn't have smartphones. But for the LGBTQ plus community, it was a time of torture and triumph. Everyone who was gay was being shunned for being gay, for being themselves and loving who they want to love. They were afraid to love and live life because of their sexual preferences, and they were basically being oppressed, just like the Israelites were being oppressed in Egypt. Who were the oppressors? Well, homophobes, of course. People who didn't like the idea of, gay people, or liking the same sex, or marrying the same sex, or just having a relationship with someone of the same gender. Some people didn't like the idea because of their religion. They were taught that, liking the same sex wasn't good. It was like sinning. Or they were taught that it was like bad from their parents or family members. And a lot of people back then were really against it. Even parts of the Canadian government. Like in 1948 and 61, there was changes to the criminal code that used to brand gay men as like criminal sexual psychopaths and dangerous sexual offenders. This treatment went on for many years. Then came along a man named Jim Egan, also known as Gay Moses. Not actually Gay Moses, but he was gay. There's many other people who came along, but I'm focusing on Jim Egan today. Anyways, Jim Egan, a Canadian, part of the LGBTQ plus community. He was also an LGBTQ plus rights activist. He sort of stuck out to me as like similar to Moses because as Moses persistently tried to persuade the king of Egypt to let his people go, the king denied. And then there's like Jim Egan, who persistently wrote an abundance of letters to the Toronto Press challenging the laws which criminalize same-sex relationships in Canada. And in doing so, he became the first person in Canada to speak out publicly for gay rights. And if you even got any of that information, good for you. And comparing him to Moses once again, he was like Moses because I'm pretty sure Moses is like the amount of times I said Moses. So Jim Egan was a public figure for the gays, and Moses was a public figure for the Israelites. Moses spoke out for the freedom of his people. Jim Egan spoke out for the freedom of his people. And because of Egan's work, he sort of pushed the movement for LGBT community equal rights forward in the right direction. And on July 20th, 2005, Canada became the first country outside the European Union and the fourth country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. And no, I have it all typed up on my phone here. One of the other questions I was supposed to answer was what would liberation look like? Well, liberation will look like today's society, where everyone can love whoever they want to love. If you're really confused by this video, there's a link in the description of a document I made.